In this video, we'll be doing a tire change on a AovoPro scooter. So, let's see how easy this is. Let's go.
You are watching What's Lock and Key.
So these are the tools that you're going to be using. We noticed that we have a few different sizes for our sockets. We also have the Allen key right next to this, as well as a drill. This will be used to tighten up and loosen bolts. We have an access tool. We're going to use this to put the tire onto the rim. This is one of the hardest parts. If you need assistance with this, just keep in mind it could require help from another source like a garage. But we'll explain what happened to ours. Let's take off this outer cover by using this T10 socket. You can also use an Allen wrench to do this. As a pro tip, it's good to put a box or some type of footstool so that you have easy access to the wheels on the scooter. Since we've taken off this plate, we've removed those two bolts. Next off, what we're going to be doing is making sure that we remove the next bolt. And for that, we're going to need a certain socket. And that size, as we notice here, is a T30 or a 5mm if you're using an Allen wrench. This is the main bolt. So after you take this off, you're pretty much going to be a few steps away from taking off the tire. That was pretty easy. These two bolts will be extracted by the T10 that we used prior. These come out pretty easy, as we see, and as you can notice, they connect one of them to the backlight. I use this bowl here to place any of my bolts so that I don't lose them, and I'm just going to separate this light here. This tire is going to be coming off in just a moment, but before that, let's use the T30 to extract the brake. Let's see if this gives us any trouble coming off. Well, that was pretty easy. No problem there. Now, all we have to do is take off the tire. If you notice that something drops, it could be the washer, as we can see here, that goes right behind. We're going to put that in later, so hold on to that piece. These washers are on both sides, so keep in mind if they stay in, we want to keep those in. You may just want to use a screwdriver to pull those guys out. But next step is actually changing the tire. The tire we picked up from Amazon. It's a 8.5 by 2. This is the right size for this scooter. The hardest part is getting the tire on the rim. Notice the prior tire, it did need to be replaced. We do see damage within the wall of the tire. So I was trying to get the tire on. We see we have the inner tube. It's inside as well, and we were using this access tool there to try to help us to get the tire on. With all of my force and might, I was not able to get the tire on. I had to take it to a bike shop. They were not able to get the tire on as well. But what I did is I had to take it to a mechanic shop, and I guess they use the same tools that they use for tires on cars, and they were able to get the tire on for me for free. The best that I could do is just get the tire halfway on, as we see here. We did get it halfway on the actual rim, but I decided it may just be better, even if I had to pay for it, to have someone put it on. And keep in mind, this is basically a vehicle, so the rim is pretty solid. It can hold over 100 pounds. That's probably why it's so hard to get the tire and inner tube onto the electric scooter. So here we have it. We notice that the tire is on and the inner tube is in. It's filled up with air, just what we need. They were even nice enough to fill it up with air force. So let's put everything back on. So make sure that your washers are on and that they're lined up perfectly, as we see here. If your washers are not on correctly, the bolts will not actually be able to enter through, as we will notice later. Now you want to place the tire on and make sure that you can spin it as well freely. And that's just the first step. We're going to be applying all of our bolts. Pretty easy, right? Now remember all of those washers we mentioned, the 2 washers? Make sure those are flush with the rim on both sides. And now we're going to place in that main bolt, which is the T30 or 5mm if you're using an Allen wrench. Make sure that's done on both sides. Next up, we're going to be placing on the brake. So we'll connect that, and then we'll enter in the 2 bolts there, and make sure that your tire can still spin freely once you do this. Now let's make sure the connectors to the backlight, they are entered in correctly so that we can put in the bolts and bolt them down. And that'll be 1 on the left and 1 on the right. They're pretty easy to apply. Next up, you're going to be adding the 2 other bolts. These have to be connected to the washer. So if they don't go in, your washer is not lined up correctly and you'll have to move it by means of some type of a screwdriver of sorts. Now let's apply the plate. This is going to have 2 more bolts. Now let us add in these 2 bolts, which are fairly easy to enter. You're going to do this side as well as the other side. And as you notice here, we're entering in these last 2 on the right side of the scooter, testing out the wheel to make sure it's spinning smoothly. We don't have to adjust the brake at all. So make sure you take your scooter out, turn it on, and test it out. Make sure it rides smoothly. And if you have any questions, leave them all below. Enjoy the day, and we'll be seeing you soon on...
You are watching What's Lock 'em Key.